Air Canada, and it all seems to, come out of Canada. Canada's the trickle down, trickle up. If you haven't seen this video coming out of Air Canada, it's going to blow your freaking mind. This is real. This is real life. This is real life coming out of Canada. I may need to narrate in real time because a substantial portion of this video is in French, and those who can read it in real time, but those who are listening on podcast or those who can't read, or who can't read fast. I was going to make a joke about the babies not being able to read, but doing a Joe Rogan podcast. I'll read. This is an actual Air Canada 90-second video promoting their inclusivity. Such inclusivity that they have their first flight of an all 2S LGBTQIA+. I don't know if they mean staff or plane, which is fundamentally exclusionary because excluded from that is the H, heterosexual. Yeah, there's no H. There's no H in all of that. Maybe it's under the plus. Watch it. Let me see. Turn the volume down a touch here. Listen to this. This is Air Canada.
It was a bit of a range of emotions this morning coming here and getting dressed for this flight.
C'est un moment historique qu'on vit aujourd'hui.
Oh, it's a historic moment today. I thought it was a great initiative.
Une bonne initiative
pour
la communauté entière. Je suis comme un petit thrill de faire le vol aujourd'hui.
A thrill
ma fille,
to do the
4
flight.
enfants et dans la communauté.
This guy's got kids, some of whom are in the community.
De supporter encore plus, là, j'ai mis mon nom tout de suite.
He says, when it was a chance for me to support this, I put my name down right away.
Ever. Now let me get that one straight because a few letters have been added to this one.
They're making fun of themselves. Now, hey, I gotta say it, but let me get this one straight because it's become so convoluted, nobody can even remember it because they keep adding numbers and letters and avatars and emojis.
2S LGBTQIA+ flight ever in Canada. I do identify with the progress flag. There's something in there that represents me as well. So it was a bit of joy having the opportunity to do this flight today.
Aujourd'hui, ce que ça signifie,
Oh, sorry, hold on a second. Oh, come on. Here, listen to this.
vraiment un terme de visibilité, de vraiment exprimer à tout le monde. On se sent vraiment accueilli, vraiment accepté pour qui on est.
We're going to be accepted for who we are. We have visibility. Yada, yada.
Pour célébrer l'inclusion à la diversité, nous sommes heureux d'annoncer que le vol d'aujourd'hui
features our very first all 2S LGBTQIA+ crew.
So, in the name of inclusivity, Air Canada is making sure that they have their first ever 2S LGBTQIA+ crew. I'll stop it there because I'm going to fucking vomit. Can you? First of all, I made it as a joke a while back. How do they make sure? What do they do? Do they compel any heterosexual straight white male or straight white female to lie about their sexual orientation? Or do they just exclude them from that flight? No straight men, no straight women. You're not in on this flight. This is Air Canada. We are so freaking inclusive that no straight men or women are allowed. You go sit in the back, not even in the back. Just wait for the next plane. You say that you're 2S LGBTQIA+. Do they do a test? Like, do they have a casting couch for the Air Canada flight? Oh, you say, which one are you? Pick a letter. Are you the 2S? Are you the L, the B, the G, the 2, the Q, the I, the A, the plus? Oh, really? Prove it. It's freaking insanity. It's freaking insanity that you're talking about an age where doors are blowing off planes mid-flight because of DEI policy in terms of construction, manufacturing, etc., where bridges are collapsing, arguably because of focusing on gender identity politics over competence. And now you have Air Canada coming out and saying, our focus is not on the best pilot, the most polite staff, the most competent staff. I mean, airlines have competent staff. Air Canada, it's a decent company. They don't really seem to have airplanes falling out of the sky or doors blowing off, but whatever. They're basically saying now, we don't care about competence. We just want to make sure that the people we put on that flight are either 2S LGBTQIA+ or whatever. By the way, the pilot, was he straight? Or did he, was he so inclusive that he identifies with the flag? You can be straight, but you need to identify with the flag. That's the litmus test. And if you don't, my goodness, bigot, you don't get to fly on this flight and you don't get to fly with Air Canada. This is Pride Month. This is Pride season, people. Air Canada proudly, unironically saying, my goodness, there's so many letters in that. I don't even know how to count it anymore. And flying their first all 2S LGBTQIA+ in the name of inclusivity, which means excluding the straight white men and women. Holy hell. And it gets worse. Coming out of Canada always is Olivia Chow, who, if you don't know who she is, the mayor of Toronto, batshit crazy. Like so crazy, you won't believe how crazy she is. We'll play this video here. And there's a follow-up. I double-checked because I saw the follow-up video and it didn't have a watermark, and I wanted to make sure that someone wasn't ripping off Kareem Assad's content. Kareem Assad, Karima Rules, if you don't know her, she's amazing, relatively neutral, and does great journalizing in Canada. Olivia Chow at the Pride Month. I don't even know what the hell is going on because it's absolute batshit insanity in asylum. The insane patients have taken over the asylum in Canada.
Now, we've all seen the depressing news. Pride Toronto have lost some corporate sponsor because they just don't know who they are. They're short-sighted. They don't know who they are. And the first round of corporate cuts, about $300,000, the city of Toronto said, you know what? We're going to come to the table. We will provide a grant that is $350,000 and every year for 5 years, 62% increasing the funding by 2027. Yeah. That's our commitment to you. Now, then there's the security costs, and then there are now Google and what? Okay, we will.
I don't understand what the hell she's saying, talking about. She looks, acts, and sounds like she's permanently drunk. Let's take a brief pause from this vlog for a word from our sponsor, The Wellness Company. You've probably heard that RFK Jr., known for his sharp mind and relentless energy on the campaign trail, is taking methylene blue to stay focused, energized, and mentally resilient. Now you can experience those same benefits with Recharge from The Wellness Company. This doctor-formulated nutraceutical is the first to combine methylene blue with urolithin A, creating a unique formula designed to optimize mitochondrial function, improve energy, and elevate cognitive performance. Methylene blue crosses the blood-brain barrier to enhance memory, focus, and executive function by increasing ATP production, the true fuel of our cells. It also works as a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, helping protect against aging and cellular damage. If you're looking for a real mental and physical edge, Recharge delivers. Get 10% off and free shipping by heading over to twc.health/Viva. Promo code Viva will get you 10% off and free shipping. Feel the difference. Think clear. Recharge. Head over to twc.health/Viva. 10% off and free shipping. The link is in the description. Thank you, The Wellness Company. And now back to the vlog. Mayor Olivia Chow addresses corporate sponsors who pulled out of the Pride, calling it, quote, short-sighted, end quote, and suggesting it's, quote, because they just don't know who they are, end quote. She quips, quote, don't shop at Home Depot, end quote, recommending Rona instead, then pivots to a broader message, quote, shop Canadian, we will never be the 51st. Fucking insanity. Let's finish this.
Don't even, I know, I hate telling them, yeah, don't shop at Home Depot, guys. Rona, okay? Yeah, there are other choices. Anyway, shop Canadian, shop local, no? Yeah, yes. We are not the 51st state, are you kidding? We are proud Torontonians, right? Yeah, absolutely. So
this is real life. This is the actual woman who's in charge of Toronto. At one point, if I'm not mistaken, she was saying, you know, if you have empty lodgings to take in immigrants, asylum seekers, because they have a housing shortage in Toronto. The one who's putting out what they call the CCANs, you know, the modular living for homeless elderly people who have become homeless as a result of the housing crisis, increased costs of living in Canada. But they have their beautiful rooftop parties, much like Jason Kenney out of Alberta. They celebrate, they drink champagne, and they party like it's freaking the Hunger Games. Have I seen the Hunger Games? It is like, I have seen the Hunger Games, but is that the one where I'm thinking where they all dress in these outlandish things while they have this is real life Hunger Games. Because people are going hungry in Canada in record numbers, living on the streets, and then they get modular living, you know, those shipping containers for homes, and then they celebrate the success of rehoming people who became homeless as a result of their policies, but they become rehomed in shipping containers. Oh, by the way, Brookfield Assets Management has a good investment in modular living units. Coincidence? Hashtag no coincidence.
we have another round of funding that you heard about. Yes, another $2 million to help out with the funding need because of security and all that concern. So we at the city are stepping up.
Oh, yeah, you're stepping up. Stepping up to pick up their own shit is what they're doing. Sorry, I'm a little bit irritated. This is insanity. But wait, there's more. And you're going to want to wash your eyeballs out thoroughly. I double-checked that this was not Karim Assad's work so that I could give credit to whomever took this wonderful video that's going to make you want to scratch your eyeballs out with broken glass. That's actually quite a horrifying thought. Listen to this. This is what you did after. After or before, I don't know what the timeline was for this. Sorry, I just blew out a lot of ears. I don't know what to say. This is it's abject insanity. I guess at the very least there were no kids there that I could see. Taxpayer dollars, taxpayer time, elected government officials. Freaking insanity. I don't even have my serenity prayer by my side. And it's going to get worse, people. I hate to burn your eyeballs out and make you want to retch this early in the day. But you'll have time to get over it afterwards. Yeah, that was the irony here, by the way. Someone says, I don't know what that is. Oh, this is fun. No, someone said, wow, they're not even good. Where did it go? Where was it? Oh, yeah. Wow, they're not even good. That was my joke. A 6-year-old kid could do a better somersault than that. I could do a better somersault than that. I do good somersaults. Can't even get like an actual gymnast drag queen to perform. That's a mayor of Toronto, the biggest city in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Insanity. And it gets worse. We've always been saying this for a little while, you know, the preferred pronouns is not actually a request for anything but submission. It's not asking for you to treat someone a certain way. It's dictating your behavior. And even more bizarre and insane is dictating your behavior when you're not even in the presence of the person who's requesting or demanding that your behavior fit a certain method. When someone says, you will refer to me as she, her, let's just start with the linguistically appropriate one. What they're basically saying is when you're in one-on-one discussion with someone, no one's going to refer to someone they're talking to as she, her. It's you shall refer to me as she, her when you are talking to someone else about me. It is imposed speech, demanded speech, mandated speech, compelled speech, nothing less. Compelled speech that defies reality, that defies biology, that defies science, that defies common sense. Then you really get into the she, theys where it defies patience. Oh yes, I'm a she, even though I'm a man, but I'm also a they, which is a multiple. I'm not even a her anymore. It doesn't make any sense except to push the bounds of what polite people will tolerate and be accommodating to. And there's one person, if you have never seen these videos, you're going to want to wash your eyeballs out after this, who's pushing those limits and been doing it for a while. I don't know who this person is. I've seen a bunch of videos on the internet of this person claiming to get misgendered whenever he goes to certain areas to film himself eating foods and then flips the lid when someone misgenders him. I mean, it's so obviously abusive and so obviously pathologically narcissistic in that it has nothing to do with true, sincere emotions or insult. It has to do with demanding submission from people around you. Here is the person going to Disney, and there's a massive punchline to this, talking about hot dogs. And I said this unironically. You're going to watch this video, and you're going to understand what gender dysphoria in the DSM-5 or DSM-6 or DSM-7, whatever they're up to right now. This video is the quintessential description, embodiment of gender dysphoria in the literal clinical sense. And we live in a world now where, in the name of virtue signaling self-righteousness, people accommodate to what would otherwise have been a diagnosable and treated mental illness. We live in a world now where people are so freaking virtuous, they actually allow children who can't consent to drinking alcohol, smoking, tattoos, or sex to permanently mutilate their own bodies because those who let them do it are the most virtuous, are the most tolerant, are the most inclusive of people. They're so inclusive, they let children mutilate themselves. But this is a guy, if he wants to mutilate himself as an adult, I think any doctor who does it to him should be locked up. Any doctor who profits off this man's mental illness should be locked up. But adults can do what they want to their bodies. They can split their tongues down the middle if they so choose. They can lop off their dicks and turn it into a neo-vagina if they want. And this is what you're going to hear right now. The pure description of gender dysphoria, what it feels like, what it manifests like, and what the person who suffers from it wants to do. But we live in a day and age where they found their Dr. Mengeles to carry out their mentally diagnosable wishes.
I think Disney's going to ban me for this one. My corn dog is still intact. I'm not happy about that, but sadly it takes a long time to turn a corn dog into a inverted corn dog. I do hair removal every week for 2 hours straight. It is not fun or easy, but once that is finally done, hopefully by the end of the year, they are going to take my corn dog. These ears do not want to stay on. They are going to cut it down the middle. This is not the best knife for this. They will then take off the outer lining of the corn dog. Okay, I'm actually impressed that I'm doing this good of a job.
This is Frankensteinian human experimentation. I've interviewed Richie. At the time, his name was Tulip R. Richie, who explained what they did to him. A Kevorkian Mengele doctor who exploited of Tulip R. Richie's self-diagnosed and diagnosed mental issues and did this to him. You can't do it. I mean, it is Frankensteinian, like trying to sew a rat to a pigeon. And the only reason I'm thinking about that is because I just saw the Halloween House of Horrors episode of The Simpsons when Bart had his half-brother Hugo, and Hugo was trying to tie a rat to a pigeon, and then, you know, the pigeon starts flying, lands, and the rat tries to go into his hole, and the pigeon bangs its head on the wall. Listen to the rest of this.
Like so. Flip it inside out and make something of a tunnel. This tunnel will then become, well, you know, my hands are disgusting. Now you might be...
Do you know what that tunnel becomes? Something that you have to dilate for the rest of your life manually. Something that grows hair internally that can cause infections for the rest of your life. Things that are not typically explained to the people who think that doing this to their bodies is going to resolve their mental crises.
Asking why I would do this or why anyone would do this. It sounds not fun. And I agree with you. I'm not looking forward to that recovery process. But know that this is not...
It's not a recovery process. It's a permanent injury process for the rest of his life.
A decision that any of us take lightly. Our corn dogs do serve a purpose, but at the end of the day, I just don't like having it. It's not me. I look at it in the mirror and it's like, can we do something about that? And
that is the definition of gender dysphoria. And I say this non-judgmentally. That is gender dysphoria. Strong discomfort with a perception that defies reality. And this guy's going to go find a doctor who's going to profit handsomely, not just from the surgery, but for the lifelong condition that this man is going to afflict to himself. If he goes through with it. And it's like there's virtue in the pain. There's virtue in the self-inflicted punishment. Oh, I don't want to do it, but I just won't be happy if I don't do it. Well, spoiler, that's why you would treat mental issues with mental treatments, not with physical modifications that will do nothing to resolve the underlying issue. That will persist forever. But if it were just a question of an adult doing what an adult wants to do to the adult's own body in full awareness of fact and law, living with the consequences, that would be one thing. When I say that this is about pushing the bounds of what's tolerant and tolerable and narcissistic imposition of the will on others, the same individual apparently goes to bathrooms and rates the bathrooms, takes pictures in women's bathrooms with the women in the back seemingly unblurred. Do you know what kind of man goes into women's bathrooms under the pretext of you tolerate my presence or you're a bigot and I take pictures in a bathroom and don't even blur the faces at times? It's someone who is a narcissist who wants to impose his abuse on those around him. And society as a whole has gotten to the point where, on the one hand, they're either too passive or too indifferent to say anything, or they've been brainwashed into thinking that they are virtuous for not only not saying anything, but actively promoting it. And they're even double super duper extra virtuous for promoting it on children. Because after all, when children speak, you have to listen. Can't get a tattoo, can't drink alcohol, can't smoke, but you can lop off your jinjong. You can take puberty, whatever, you get the idea. This is Pride Month, people. And some governments are doubling down on it. Other governments are pushing back on it. And you have Pete Hegseth saying that they're going to rename that aircraft carrier or that ship, rename it to strip it of the name Harvey Milk after the movement. And at some point, you have to understand that virtuous conduct is not aiding and abetting in the mental unwellness of others. It's not allowing them to mutilate their bodies for the rest of their lives so that they can potentially think that will make them happy. The biggest lie you can ever tell yourself is when I get what I want, I'll be happy. And the stats are, in fact, what everybody knows they are, that permanently mutilating your body when you have a sense of discomfort about it not only doesn't solve the problem, it only exacerbates it with the stats that we know are the truth. That's all on that, and we shall move on.